You know that one neighbor who's just pure sunshine? The kind of person who makes a street feel like home? Well, my neighbor Rebecca was that person. Until the landlord's spoiled son decided to rip her life apart for his daughter's dream house. What they didn't know. We had the tools, the time, and the perfect plan to turn that dream into their personal nightmare. If you've ever watched someone kind and good get stomped on by entitled people, and wished you could be part of the sweet, sweet payback, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let me take you through one of the most satisfying bits of neighborhood justice you'll ever hear. Rebecca had been in that little cottage-style house since the mid-80s. From the outside, it was quaint, just a pre-built facade made to look like something out of a fairy tale. But step inside, and it was magic. Every single wall was covered in hand-painted murals, Disney scenes, fairy tales, whimsical forests. She had painted them all herself over the years. When she was younger, she'd been an art teacher. Later, she opened one of those paint and sip studios before retiring to take on commissions and furniture decorating. She wasn't rich, but she had something better, a home she loved, and a community that loved her right back. I'll be honest, I wasn't always the best neighbor at first. Once, she complained about my truck being too loud. I was defensive, maybe even a bit of a jerk. But we worked it out, and after that, we were friends. And she wasn't just nice. She was the kind of neighbor who remembered birthdays, who'd paint little Christmas ornaments for the kids on the block, who'd always wave when you drove by. Rebecca had an agreement with the original landlord. The murals stayed. They weren't a problem since they were indoors. And there had always been this unspoken promise that someday, she'd get to buy the place outright. But life's cruel sometimes. The landlord passed away before anything was signed. That's when his kids took over. And one of the sons came by with his daughter for an inspection. The girl fell in love with the house, the art, the fairy tale feel, the history. And just like that, they decided they wanted it for her. Now, Rebecca didn't have a lease, which made it easy for them to pull the rug out from under her. And they didn't even bother hiding behind a nice excuse. They pointed to the murals, the very thing the girl loved, and claimed they were a problem. That was their legal reason for kicking her out. I'll never forget the look on Rebecca's face when she told me. She wasn't just losing her home. She was losing decades of her life's work. Rebecca was lucky enough to find another property, out of state, but perfect for her. It even had a full art studio on the first floor. She bought it just in time. At first, she planned to leave her old house as is. Let the daughter have the murals she loved so much. But that's when my friend, an extremely talented painter, made a suggestion. Why don't we restore the place to Rebecca's standards? Now, in our friend group, Rebecca's standards is code for flipper-style blandness. We're talking white walls, gray trim, soul-crushingly boring decor. And my friend had just bought a new powered paint sprayer he was dying to test out. Rebecca laughed. Then she agreed. We moved her furniture into storage in just a few days. My friend even let her stay in his guest house for free in exchange for painting a mural in his living room. The following week, we got to work. The first thing we did, sand down every single mural in that house. From the front room to the back bedroom, gone. In their place were blotches of random color, like a badly faded memory. Then came the paint sprayer. My friend masked off every single inch of anything that wasn't paintable, and then 4 passes, and the wall was pure white. The wood paneling, painted over in dead gray. The cabinets, gray. The trim, the switch covers, even the outlet covers. All that same depressing, soulless shade. The house didn't just lose its color, it lost its life. Walking in afterward was eerie. Like stepping into a sterile box where joy had gone to die. Rebecca had originally wanted to keep the cottage-style facade. But she struck a deal with my friend's landscaper buddy. He could keep all the bushes and plants if he removed the facade without damaging it. It took hours, but when it was done, the house looked like, well, nothing. Just a flat, plain front. The landscaping, replaced with sand, gravel, and one giant boulder plopped right in the middle like a tombstone for the house's personality. It was the opposite of charm. The opposite of everything that made Rebecca's home special. Weeks later, I was back in the neighborhood fixing something for another friend when I noticed the old place. Still empty. Curious, I asked another neighbor if anyone had moved in yet. He told me there had been some U-Hauls earlier in the week, but no one unloaded a thing. Then they disappeared. I couldn't help but grin. I imagined the daughter walking in, expecting murals and fairy tales, only to find herself inside a dead gray box surrounded by gravel. The dream home had become a nightmare before they even unpacked. You know that deep, satisfying moment when the universe finally tips the scales in the right direction? That was me, standing in front of the now lifeless house, knowing Rebecca was miles away in her new home, paintbrush in hand, smiling in her new studio, while the spoiled daughter and her dad were stuck with a soulless, depressing shell. And the best part, they did it to themselves. They thought they were taking something magical. Instead, they got 4 walls and a floor, stripped of the heart they tried to steal. Sometimes, revenge isn't loud. Sometimes, it's quiet, methodical, and permanent. Rebecca didn't have to scream, or fight, or beg. She just let the art go. And in doing so, she took the magic with her. If this story made you smile, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life revenge tales. And tell me in the comments, if you were Rebecca, would you have done the same? Or gone even further?